The Dra. Kesh tempering chamber smelled of copper and burnt stone. Dr. Harper Collins stood outside the observation window, watching 3 juvenile Dra. Kesh huddle in the corner of the medical bay's storage room. Their scales, meant to shimmer bronze and health, showed the mottled gray of absolute terror. "They've been there for 6 hours," said Station Commander Yelmoth, his own scales rippling with disapproval. "The tempering ritual begins at dawn. If they do not present themselves, their parents face execution for raising cowards." Harper pressed her palm against the glass. The cubs were 4 years old, babies by any reasonable measure. But Dra. Kesh tradition demanded they endure controlled bone breaking, scale burning, and nerve stimulation to temper their spirits against weakness. "Let me talk to them," Harper said. "A human? They will not respect. Then I have nothing to lose." The storage room was cold. The 3 cubs, Vex, Shaira, and little Kess, watched Harper enter with slit-pupiled eyes, their claws extended defensively. Harper sat on the floor, cross-legged, non-threatening. "I'm Dr. Collins. I study pain." Vex, the eldest, hissed. "You study weakness. Humans cannot endure. That is why your species is prey." "True," Harper said calmly. "We're not built like you. We break easier, heal slower, feel pain more intensely." She rolled up her sleeve, showing a jagged scar. "Rock climbing accident. Shattered radius. I cried for 3 hours." The cubs exchanged glances. Admitting pain was shameful. "But here's what we learned," Harper continued. "Pain isn't something you just survive. It's information. Your body telling you what's damaged and how to protect it. We studied it, mapped it, learned to control it." Shara's tail twitched. "Control? Pain cannot be controlled. Only endured." Harper smiled. "Watch." She pulled a small device from her pocket, a neural stimulator used for physical therapy. She pressed it against her forearm and activated it. A muscle spasm rippled visibly beneath her skin. The cubs leaned forward, intrigued despite themselves. "Hurts like hell," Harper said through gritted teeth. 7 out of 10 on the pain scale. "But..." She closed her eyes, breathing slowly. "In for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Out for 6. Her jaw relaxed. Her shoulders dropped. "Breathing technique reduces it to a 4. Meditation can take it lower." "Impossible," Vex whispered. "Not impossible. Practiced." Harper deactivated the stimulator. "Your tempering teaches you to endure pain. We teach something different, how to function through pain, how to think clearly when hurt, how to heal faster after injury. We don't just survive pain, we manage it." Kess, the smallest, spoke for the first time. "They will break our bones, burn our scales. We cannot." His voice cracked. "We are afraid." Harper's heart ached. Fear is information too. It says danger ahead, prepare yourself. It's not weakness. It's your brain trying to keep you alive. "Dra. Kesh do not fear," Vex said, but his voice wavered. "Everyone fears," Harper replied. "The question is what you do with it." She spent the night teaching them. Breathing patterns that slowed heart rates and reduced pain perception. Visualization techniques that let them mentally distance themselves from their bodies. Muscle relaxation protocols that prevented pain from causing system-wide tension. Progressive desensitization, not eliminating fear, but reducing its paralytic grip. The cubs were brilliant students. Their predator focus, trained for hunting, adapted perfectly to internal awareness. By dawn, Vex could take a mild electric shock without flinching, using breathing to manage the sensation. Shaira mastered visualization, imagining her pain as a separate entity she could observe rather than embody. Kess, terrified but determined, learned to talk himself through fear using Harper's cognitive frameworks. "This is not endurance," Vex said, wonder in his voice. "This is something else." "This is control," Harper said. "You're not tougher than you were yesterday. You're smarter about pain, which makes you more dangerous, not less." The tempering ritual was public. The entire Dra. Kesh colony assembled in the ceremonial arena. Harper stood with the other human researchers, stomach churning as the pain masters prepared their instruments. The 3 cubs entered. Their scales showed appropriate fear patterns, but their breathing remained controlled. Steady. The first test, bone stress. Vex's forearm was placed in a compression device. Slowly, inexorably, pressure increased until the bone fractured with an audible crack. Vex's eyes widened. His jaw clenched, but he breathed, 4 in for hold, 6 out, and his body remained controlled. He didn't thrash, didn't scream, just breathed through it, managing the sensation. The pain master scales showed confusion. He processes it differently. Shayera endured the scale burning. As heat seared her dorsal ridge, she closed her eyes and visualized the pain as orange light outside her body. Harper saw her lips moving, self-talk, the cognitive techniques they'd practiced. Tears streamed down her face, but she remained functional, aware, in control. Kes, smallest and most afraid, faced nerve stimulation. As electricity coursed through him, he talked himself through it in a whisper Harper could barely hear. This is temporary. My body is strong. I can think through this. I am more than this moment. When the ritual ended, all 3 cubs stood, injured but coherent. They hadn't just endured, they'd remained tactically aware throughout. Their pain hadn't shut down their higher thinking. It had been managed, processed, controlled. The colony stood in shocked silence. War Chief Dex Nor descended from the observation platform. His scales, marked with ritual scars from 12 temperings, showed colors Harper had never seen. Something like respect mixed with confusion. Pain Master Vakresh, the war chief said. In your assessment? The pain master's voice was uncertain. They experienced appropriate pain. The injuries are standard. But their response, he gestured at the cubs. They maintained cognitive function throughout. They could have fought, strategized, escaped. Traditional tempering leaves cubs overwhelmed, building endurance through repeated exposure. These cubs achieved something else entirely on their first trial. Dex Nor turned to Harper. What did you teach them, human? Pain management, Harper said clearly. Not pain elimination. Not endurance through numbness. Active control through understanding. She stepped forward. Your tempering is valuable. It tests courage, builds resilience. But I taught them to stay smart while hurt. A warrior who can think through pain is more dangerous than one who merely survives it. The war chief's claws extended, retracted, extended again. You gave them tactical advantage? I gave them what humans used to compensate for being weak, Harper said. We're not tough, so we became clever about pain instead. We turned our disadvantage into something useful. Dex Nor looked at the 3 cubs. They stood straighter now, injuries managed, fear present but controlled. Not broken by the ritual, enhanced by it because they'd had tools to process it. The war chief's scales flashed decision gold. Harper Collins of Earth, you will teach all our cubs. This knowledge, pain management, will become part of tempering preparation. We will not abandon our tradition, but we will improve it. His voice rose, addressing the colony. Humans are not weak because they study pain. They are strategic. They turned vulnerability into weapon. This is what warriors do. 3 months later, Harper stood in a new medical facility, watching her first class of DRA Kesh cubs practice breathing techniques. Vex assisted her now, translating concepts into cultural context the others understood. Shayera taught visualization. Kes, once the most afraid, helped younger cubs talk through fear. The tempering ritual hadn't changed. The pain was still real, still brutal, still necessary by DRA Kesh standards. But now their cubs entered it prepared. And they emerged not just tougher, but smarter. Warriors who could think through agony, strategize while wounded, remain functional when others would be incapacitated. Commander Yelmoth approached, his scales showing embarrassed respect. I called humans prey species. I was incorrect. Harper smiled. We are prey. We're just prey that learned to weaponize everything, including our own suffering. Pain doesn't have to destroy you, can inform you, strengthen you, teach you. She watched Kes demonstrate a breathing pattern to a trembling cub half his size. Your people taught the galaxy how to be strong through pain. Maybe we taught you something too, how to be strong because of it. And in that moment, Harper understood the real HFY truth. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't avoiding weakness. It was transforming weakness into strategy, turning every disadvantage into adapted advantage, and teaching others that survival wasn't just about enduring, it was about evolving.